So we are officially 1 week into the January Pantry Challenge. And although most of us have already inventoried our freezers, fridge, and pantries by now, there are a few areas that a lot of us might not have thought about. And that's because those areas aren't really what most of us would consider food per se. But man, they are, some of those anyway, very expensive items. So we don't want to leave those off the list of things that we're making sure we're good stewards of and checking the expiration dates on. So let's talk about it. First up on the money wasting away in our kitchen cabinets category is protein powders. This has to be one of the most expensive categories in my kitchen. I estimate this lineup right here is close to $200. I'll put it up here on the screen what today's prices would be. While I bought the majority of these, when my twins were still living here, they bought this type of stuff all the time. So I've got a couple leftovers from when they took off and left these behind. I managed to work through a couple of jugs of protein powder that they purchased, but this is the last one of the bunch, as well as this green blends. When it comes to protein powders and shakes, according to Google results, it's more or less safe to drink protein shakes up to 2 years after the expiration dates, which is surprising to me. Now, these first four I recently purchased, so I know they're going to be good, or at least that's what I tell myself. But it never hurts to check the dates, especially when you're buying things off of Amazon, right? So let's take a look here. This is BCAAs. And according to Google, you should not drink these past their expiration date. Now, this says it's good until late 2025, so I know I'll get those drank in time. This is HMB. It's kind of like creatine, but it sustains your muscles that you already have. That is good until September. This is creatine, and according to Google, surprisingly, creatine basically lasts longer on the shelf than protein shakes. But I've got until 2027. This is collagen powder, which I'm going to think of just like a protein powder in the sense of what Google has to say about expiration dates. This is good until 2028. This is protein powder, and it is good until 2026. This is PB Fit, or peanut butter powder. You know, it's like dehydrated peanut butter. You add water if you're not familiar with this. I bought this off of Amazon about 6 months ago, and this expires this year, 2025, in October. And man, I have a lot of that. I was going to restock my regular peanut butter, and then I remembered I had this giant jug and told myself, heck no, I'm not buying any more peanut butter in the jar until this is gone. And then this is chocolate protein powder the girls left behind. That expired 6 months ago. So I think it's still good. And there's about at least half a jug in there. And then this is green blends, you know, basically vegetables. And according to Google, this really surprised me. You should not drink veggie greens past their expiration date. And these expired a year and a half ago. So those are going to have to go. Ixnay on the expiration A when it comes to your veggie greens. Run and check those out real quick. Now, let's say you have one or more jars or jugs of various protein powders and peanut butter powder hanging out in your cabinet, but you aren't good about drinking them. I highly recommend considering incorporating things like this in baked goods, including protein powder or peanut butter powder in your baked goods is a double win because we're all trying to get more protein. It'll help you use up that expensive powder. That's great for everyone, right? I also find it more enjoyable in baked goods, kind of like who wouldn't? Let me give you a couple of examples. One of my favorite things that I've tried lately is baked protein oatmeal. You guys, that stuff is just downright delicious. It's kind of like a dessert bar meets brownie. And I'm telling you, I couldn't stay out of it. And of course, I'll put a link to that recipe down below. And it is like 40 grams of protein between the yogurt and the oatmeal. Gotta love that. And then I'll put up here on the screen a couple of things that I want to try. For sure, and I think this weekend, I am going to try these no-bake peanut butter chocolate bars. These sound fantastic. I don't have any desserts in the house. I'm trying to be healthy, new year, new me. So I definitely want to give those a whirl. And if you're like me and you have a jug of peanut butter powder hanging out in your cabinet, this works fantastic in Thai dishes. A lot of those have like a peanut butter in the sauce. I've tried that. It's amazing. And if you're like me, you may have things like BCAAs and creatine powder hanging out, and you just maybe haven't been very good about drinking those on the regular. Well, if you've been following my channel, you may have seen my little morning routine. Now, I just do this on work days, but I prepare little containers with a scoop of all three of these, plus some potassium and another thing that's good for your brain, because the BCAAs are flavored, so you don't have to have juice. But let me show you, because I've been going through these all week. This is the little container that I prepare. Having these ready puts it on autopilot. And I got these at, I want to say Walmart. They come like 4 in a package. And I just line them up here and mix it up in the morning, leave it on the counter while I'm getting ready, and then drink it down before I leave for work. But not only are BCAAs and creatine very expensive, but the whole reason we buy them is because we feel like it'll do good things for our health, right? Especially if you're over 45. I am definitely noticing a difference in being able to build and retain my muscle tone. And I know for a fact that drinking creatine along with this HMB, which helps retain the muscle, makes a huge difference for me. And I am committed to drinking my BCAAs and my creatine. And that takes us to our next sneaky category, number 2, supplements. Now, I know all of us have at least one jar of vitamins hanging out in our house. I happen to have an entire basket full, but I will say on my behalf, I take all of these 5 days a week. So I'm not worried about these being expired, but that's what this is. One of each of those, believe it or not, fits in this little bottle. And I drink them down with my BCA concoction every morning. And although I'm sure all of these are fine, the vitamins in this box, I'm fairly certain are expired because I got these in 2020, 2021, right after the lockdown. But I've learned I don't like taking multivitamins because I feel like I don't get the nutrition I need from them. Sure enough, expired 2023, 2022, 2023. Well, I don't see an expiration date, but based on how they look, they're expired. So those have all got to go. On to that sneaky category number 3, healthy baking supplies. Now, I'm fairly certain a large percentage of households have at least one of these in their cabinets. We're talking almond flour, coconut flour, sugar substitutes. You get the idea. And I have a basket full of it that I need to go through. Even if it's not expired, I've had flours go bad prior to their expiration dates. And on that point, let's take a look at those. And just like with the protein powders, some of these specialty baking items are seriously expensive compared to the lesser of their brothers. So let's take a look at these, check expiration dates out, and talk about ideas for how to use these things up while we still can. And let's start with what I think of as the most expensive in this basket, almond flour. This stuff is at least $10 a bag now. I'll put a price up here for you. Obviously, this is from Walmart. So off camera, I looked this flour over for 5 minutes. I swear, you guys, I do not see an expiration date anywhere on here at all. I even tried to look in the weird folds because you know how they love to hide these things. And please comment down below if you see it, because for the life of me, I don't see one on here. One of my absolute favorite ways to use this, if you've been following my channel, you've seen these, a keto-friendly copycat recipe for the Starbucks Cranberry Bliss Bars. Absolutely, hands down, my favorite way to use almond flour. My second favorite way is to make sausage biscuits or sausage cookies. They kind of look like cookies. They taste amazing. They hold up well in the fridge for several days. High protein, low carb, can't go wrong. I'll put recipes down below, of course. Now, the next most expensive thing in here is coconut flour. And while this stuff, to me, is more versatile than the almond flour, it also has more of a specific taste and texture. So depending on the recipe, I'm going to use coconut flour versus almond flour. And this expiration date is November of 23, I think, or maybe 2024. I can't tell there, guys. I can't tell. I'll give that a sniff test. But you can bet your last button I'm going to focus on using this for the next month or two, because I know I just bought that, even if I can't find an expiration date. This may have expired a year ago. And a couple of the things that I'd like to try using coconut flour in is lemon cake and peanut butter cookies. And just wanted to point this out. This bad boy, coconut palm sugar. I know I bought this when we were still in the other house, so at least 4 years ago. The expiration date, I can't tell you guys if that says 2020 or 2024, but I'm guessing it's 2020. I'm going to Google it, put it up here on the screen, whether or not I'm going to die. But I'll tell you, I ran out of brown sugar and I defaulted to this coconut palm sugar. But I've made a couple different recipes with it over the last week or two, and I haven't gotten sick and I haven't died. So I'm going to say no matter what Google says, it's okay to use this well past its expiration date. Now, these are all things like psyllium husk, flaxseed, quinoa, chia seeds. I feel healthier just talking about it, right? Coconut, which I got at Sprouts last year, and I managed to use up quite a bit of that. Oat bran and farro, which I really like in fall salads. So come up with a plan, get a couple of recipes, and get going on your expensive baking supplies. And please comment down below if you have a favorite, because I'd love to try it. Now, in addition to the expensive baking supplies, a lot of us have artificial sweeteners or sugar substitutes on hand, and some of us may or may not be very good about getting through those. I will say, out of everything I've tried, this Truvia Sweet Complete is my absolute hands down favorite substitute for brown sugar. And I would have used this if I weren't trying to use up this, right? But this stuff is pricey. I think it's around $7.99 a bag. This I bought not long ago, knowing that one was old. And what's the date on this one? I think that says August of 25. I can't tell if it's a 5 or a 9, you guys. That's it for my artificial sweeteners, if you don't count the packets that I keep in the cupboard. Now, these aren't really healthy baking items per se, but I do have some sugar-free chocolate chips in here. And I know probably some of you do too. The rest of these are fully leaded, so to speak, but obviously I have a lot of them. And I'm sure some of these are getting a little older, especially the specialty ones like butterscotch chips, etc. So if you have things like this lurking around, pull them out, start making a plan for how you're going to use them. And speaking of baked goods and lemon bars, that takes me to category number 4, tea and specialty drinks. I confess, you guys, I am a tea hoarder, apparently. I know. You're thinking, what? You could start a tea store. But that's not all. Oh, and let's not forget the special teapot. That was a gift that came with that. You guys, I know, it's crazy. Now, out of all of these teas, the only ones that I drink on the regular are the Tazo Wild Orange and the Lipton tea bags, which I use to make my delicious sun tea, which I drink at the office and sometimes during the day on the weekend. So these I know I will use. The rest of these, not so much. Now, according to Google, tea does not expire. But the sniff, smell, taste, is it moldy thing applies, of course. Now, some of these I bought because I was trying to get healthy, like the dandelion root tea and the moringa tea. But some of these actually belong to Gabby. Just a few. I think 1, 2, 3 were hers. And well, I bought this one for her, so 4. And she just forgot them. And she was really sad to realize after they left that she didn't take these with her. Some of these were gifts, Christmas time. Some of these were just, impulse purchases at Aldi kind of thing. Ross, checkout. Yeah, that sort of thing. So off camera, I'm going to do some tea purging because I am never going to get through all of this. These I may send in a Valentine box to Gabby, but clearly I should just stop buying tea unless it's for sun tea, and I've got a 6 month supply there. So, because I should just stop. But now let's talk about specialty drink items. I did purge these because I had a whole lot of these things. I got them because they helped me qualify for Ibotta bonuses over time. If you have a lot of these drink mixes, pull them out. Now, according to Google, surprisingly, these do not really matter what the expiration date says. Again, go by sight, smell, taste. I know Frugal Fit Mom says she buys these all the time because she doesn't like to drink plain water. Me, I'm the complete opposite. I prefer plain water, which is why you see these here. And they had several other brothers. I think I actually gave those away maybe last fall when I donated a bunch of food to some family friends. So if you're hoarding things like this, consider donating some of them if they're not expired. And also things like hot cocoa mix. This is something I never ever drink. I don't like sweet drinks. I bought this when the girls were here. Clearly, it expired in 2022, so we know where that's going. And make some space in your cabinets for things you actually are using on the daily, because this This takes up a lot of cabinet space, and I'm going to pare that right down. Now on to category number 5, condiments and spices. And I am sure the majority of families in America have at least 2 or 3 condiments in their fridge or their cupboards that are expired. So let's be good stewards of our condiments and comb through those, find ways to use the ones that are still good, and hold our noses and pitch the ones that are expired, because Google says don't eat expired condiments. I think we all try new condiments and spices from time to time because we like to try new things, right? We're in the store and something catches our eye, like this Chipotle mayo. I got it on sale with a coupon. I think I paid 75 cents for it. And you know what? I don't really like it. November of 24. Right, so here are all of my condiments from my refrigerator in my magnifying glass so I could try to find the expiration dates. And let me sort these into expired versus not expired. And I'll be right back. Here it is, guys. Expired. Or if I could not find a date and I know it's been a while since I bought it, it's in this pile. Not expired. And the crazy thing is, some of this stuff I was just sure I hadn't bought that long ago. I think that was probably $40 worth. And now I'm going to get busy wiping these drawers out and putting my little bit of condiments on one shelf. And while we're still on line item number 5, let's talk spices. You may have seen a video I put up last year of Bits and Bites Spice Edition. That was actually a hoot for me. So I'll put a link to that down below. But I just wanted to show you my spice cabinet very quickly and mention a couple of things. So just a couple of quick points. Most of us have smaller bottles of spices. Now, according to Google, you can use spices past their expiration date. They will just slowly lose their oomph and not have as much flavor. But I wanted to point out, I think a lot of us do the thing of shopping at Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and we bring home bottles of things like this, large bottles that we spent $4 or $5 on. And I would just highly encourage you, especially during this pantry challenge, to have a deep dig in your spice drawer, rack, pantry, wherever you keep them, and pull out these larger bottles of things, because for some reason, that tends to not be my go-to. It's always these littler ones. And this is where all the, let's call it big flavor, no pun intended, comes from, right? So when you're on a pantry challenge and feeling a little bored with what you're trying to meal plan, get in your spice cabinet and grab out some of these things and see what you can come up with. And you might just find yourself having fun on the pantry challenge. Now let's go for a bonus round. I think it's worth talking about because I know everyone gives in to spending money in this category from time to time. And I think most of us end up regretting it. And I am talking about fun foods. So let's take a quick look at here's my little pile of fun foods that I was able to gather very quickly. I will say I don't very often give in to buying fun foods, but I'd say at least 6 times a year, which probably adds up to somewhere between $15 and $20 wasted. And I'm talking about things like fun shaped pastas. I think these were fall shaped. I got it Aldi 2 or 3 years ago. I did try using these once, and I didn't like the way they cooked up. Basically, they fell apart after just 4 minutes. So they're for decorative purposes only. And I'm going to toss those because they're taking up space and making me feel guilty. When we're in that I need to eat healthy and we see something on the shelf. So I bought these chicken crisps. They were on clearance because you know me. And I tried one bag and I basically didn't really like them. I should have just bought one bag. Silly me. And now they're expired. Double fail. These I bought this fall. They don't expire until May of 2025. I don't dislike them, but I don't love them. And you know, they had me at maple. That's how I fell for these. So I need to try to figure out some kind of a recipe I can use these in. This was a fun purchase when I was at Nelson's Farmers Market one day. I did end up really liking this, but I rarely eat ham, and now it's expired by 2 years. So, yeah, that was in the condiments, but I just wanted to point it out. It was absolutely a fun, spur of the moment impulse purchase. And I think it was $5 or $6. This was like $5 because this was on sale. That was $2.50, and I think these were around $3. So we're talking 15 bucks ish right here. So ixnay on the fun foods if you're trying to be frugal and you don't like throwing things out. Well, that's a wrap on the sneaky, unexpected, expensive categories to have a look-see through your pantry and maybe keep an eye on those expiration dates. I hope you guys found this helpful. Maybe it inspired you to look in some areas I haven't thought of. And if so, please comment down below, because we all want to be good stewards of the food we have and make the most of that money we've already spent, right? Thanks for your time, and I appreciate y'all stopping in. I'll see you on the next video.